Hi everyone, I'm Stacia Smilik, one of your field development managers, and I am so excited to come to you today and to share with you some booking tips to help you fill your April and May calendars. One of our directors, Lucy Lonning, has had amazing success utilizing our zucchini and artichoke frittata recipe at her home parties in the month of March. She's gotten 5 bookings by sharing this recipe, and it is the perfect recipe for all of your host and your guests' spring entertaining needs. Whether it's Easter, Mother's Day, a brunch, a bridal shower, doesn't matter. This recipe is great for all of those events. And later on, Lucy is going to be featured sharing with you how to bring this recipe to life in her own kitchen and what she does at her cooking parties. And I want to share with you just a couple of the booking tips and the words that she uses when she's using this recipe at her home parties. So she would be preparing this recipe and she might say, or have a guest say, well, how much does this skillet cost? And she would say, well, it's $210 tonight, but if you host a party in April or in May, you can earn it for $84. And your host would be so excited because they would earn an extra product at 50% off. So they can earn that skillet too at a great price. And now some of your guests might come back and say, well, my friends just won't host a party or they won't come to a party. And that's okay too. You can offer them to have a virtual party or even a catalog party because we know those are just as effective and your hosts can still earn the same rewards they would if they held an in-person party too. So I'm really excited to challenge you today to book 4 parties for the month of April if you don't have them already. And if you already have your April calendar set, try and book 4 more and see if you can't add in a mix of virtual or in-person parties to really beef up your April calendar. Because in the month of April, when you submit $1,000 in commissionable sales, you're going to earn all of the new summer products. And guys, trust me, you want to earn these products for free. So get out there and book 4 more parties for the month of April. Submit your commissionable sales of $1,000 and watch Lucy bring our artichoke and zucchini frittata recipe to life and use it in your parties coming up in April and in May.
Hello, and welcome to my very first ever video. I am going to do the artichoke zucchini frittata for a couple reasons. Number 1, it's my favorite recipe right now. Number 2, I make it in my favorite pan, my non-stick stainless steel skillet. Stainless steel skillet. I can talk. And the third reason is that it's really healthy. And if you're on Weight Watchers, it's only 4 points per serving, which that's my other lifestyle. That's important to me. Pardon the noise, the dog came for her toy. Hopefully she'll get good. She went back in the other room. Okay, so we're going to start with the zucchini. And a lot of times you think about spiralizing, but I want to show you some other tools that we don't often use. And that one is the spiral and slice, and the other is the veggie strip maker. All right? So I'm going to use my new forged cutlery knife. And look, it just goes through like butter. And I'm going to cut this up into a couple different pieces. And I'm going to start with this. So this will make a long curly ribbon. You just put in your zucchini right in there. And then you'll see that this has prongs that stick out to hold them in place, okay? So when I turn, look at what happens. I get these wonderful long, whoops. I can do this really. I've just never done it in front of a camera before. There we go, that's better. So these long curly ribbons. And this is going to be, look at that. You can do this with potatoes, you can do it with onions. There are all sorts of things you can do it with. I'm just going to cut them in half because I know it's going to be easier to eat them a little bit later. So I'm going to put these in my big bowl. These are the handy scrapers. This is the very first thing I had to buy a duplicate of because I used them so much in my own house. I would tend to leave them in my drainer every time I went to a show. Okay, now this has another purpose as well. You can, I love this, cut something in half, okay, and I can use the center divider. So I'm going to put the center divider in, and I'm going to, whoops, that's not exactly straight. So I'm going to put these, I'm going to cut it into quarters in each side. Get rid of that extra stuff. And now I'm going to put this in, and you'll see now it becomes a salad shooter. So I can do this with carrots, zucchini, cucumbers, onions. I can do it with anything that I want smaller pieces of. I love this. I really do use this one a lot for my salads because I eat salads a lot. So anyway, that's the spiral and slice. All right, so let's put this up over here. And the final way that I'm going to use is this. The final tool I'm going to use is this. This is the veggie strip maker. All you have to do is hold your zucchini in the palm of your hand and go back and forth. Can you see what's happening? And this is plastic, so even when you get down to the very bottom, you can go over it with your hand, and look, I didn't cut myself or anything. It's not that sharp, but it's sharp enough to make the zucchini into strips. So I love this thing. You can also do a quick eggplant parm pasta in the microwave with this. Carrots, if you want shredded carrots for the carrot and apple salad, you can use that as well. Okay, so let me get rid of these extra pieces. So that is all set. Now we need some artichokes because it's zucchini artichoke. And I have some pre-made because you don't have to watch me do all of it. But I want to do two different ways because this is our old standby. This is our food chopper, and a lot of times we only use the manual food processor. But I love my food chopper. And I use this more often when I've had a bad day because look at this. I can just chop away and I can get my aggression. So easy, so quick, and you can even trust your kids to do this, all right? So I'm going to pick this up, put it over here, and then putting these in the sink. This is the manual food processor, which I use almost for everything else. It's got 3 blades inside, and this works like our salad spinner. And I just pump it. And I have a beautiful, I don't know if you can see this, how finely chopped that is. So that is super easy. Blade is really sharp. So I'm just going to let that sit. We're going to add it to our mixture a little bit later. Okay, so the next thing is that we have our cream cheese that I softened in the microwave. And the first thing we do is we whip this with our whisk till it's smooth. And I have to tell you, this whisk is 18 years old. It's the original one that I got when I started this business. It's got the different top and everything. So it says to add eggs 4 at a time. So here are the first 4. I figured you didn't need to watch me break all the eggs. And the reason you want to do it 4 at a time is so that the cream cheese really gets incorporated. I did this yesterday and I poured in 8 at a time. Didn't work as well. These whisks are stainless steel. It'll be the last whisk you ever buy. Doesn't rust, sealed at the joints. Great whisk. See, so that's pretty well combined. Then we add 4 more. These over here. I don't know if you can hear the dog barking outside. I think it's pretty funny. My neighbors are just going to have to wait. Whoops. So the other way you can use your handy scraper is when you crack the egg and you miss. Pampered, not perfect. Pretend I did that on purpose, okay? I didn't. All right. Some of this. I don't think I need these anymore, so I'm going to get rid of those as well. And lastly, we have 4 egg whites. This is a frittata, and a frittata is an egg dish that is typically made in a frying pan. You can also make it in our stoneware baker, but it's cooked in the oven instead of on the stove. So now we're going to add our artichokes. And I don't think my whisk is going to be appropriate, so I'm going to get rid of that. I have my mix and scrape here. And I'll add the rest of these. And then we need some garlic. Can't do a Pampered Chef recipe without garlic. This was the very first tool I ever bought. So you just put it in, and notice I did not peel it. I'm just putting it in whole. And you squeeze, and there's all your garlic. Now this was a pretty big clove, so look what happened. I'm using the back of this knife, not the top of it. So I'm just putting it back in a little bit to get the rest of it out. All right, so here is your peel. Okay, do it again. We need 2. And I did it again. So there we go. All right. Recognize the Hearts towel from years ago? All right, so we have this, the garlic, and we need some basil. So what I did with the basil is I kind of just made it into a roll. I rolled up all the leaves into one. And I'm going to use the new stainless kitchen shears, and they actually come apart so you can put them in the dishwasher and get them completely clean. They're also the sharpest shears I've ever had in my whole life. So I'm just going to cut up about half of this bunch. I like basil, so I might be overdoing it, but oh well. Stir that up. And now I'm going to mix it with the zucchini. You don't have to use as big a bowl as I do. I tend to use a little bit extra zucchini because my other job is Weight Watchers, and I always add extra vegetables. Put that down. Here we go. Oh, this smells wonderful. I can smell the basil. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this so I can bring my pan over here. So this is our non-stick stainless pan, and you can see it has a mesh coating inside. This has a non-stick mesh over the stainless, so you can still sear and cook like stainless steel cooks, but it's non-stick. It hasn't left my counter since I've gotten it. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in here, and I could use my oil spritzer, but that's not right here, so I'm using this instead. Just a little. And I'm using my Chef silicone basting brush to just spread it around. And I don't need much, it is non-stick, but when I do eggs, I just like to have it in there. Okay, so I'm going to pour this in, and these are my favorite bowls, I have to say. With the thumb hole, I can use it this way. Measurements on the inside, they come with lids. They're awesome. All right, so I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. And put it in the oven. Okay. So we're going to let that sit for about 25-30 minutes, and then I'll come right back. And just one last video to show you what it turned out like. So here it is. Everything's all melted. I'm actually using the fish spatula because I just really like it. I don't use it just for fish. And it's flexible. And this pan, even though it's non-stick, guess what? I can use metal in it, which is part of the reason why I love it. So I'm just going to cut a piece out. And whoop, slide. There you go. So that's what it looks like, and just to show you what it looks like, see how easy that came out? There you go. It's a great pan. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.